And good afternoon. Good Thursday afternoon. Rich Roberts at Fireman Rich here on Rumble Studios, broadcasting into Rumble, Locals, YouTube, Twitch, X Live, and Facebook Live on the public Facebook, The Real Fireman Rich. And I'm Rich Roberts at Fireman Rich over there on X. And you can see we are here. We have 8 minutes to go before we have the launch of a big rocket. That's saying it lightly. A very big rocket, and that's SpaceX Starship 7 test flight test 7. Where we got we're down to like 8 minutes, less than 7 minutes now as we go to Launchpad here. We've got various shots from various feeds there. Um, and let's go ahead and bring the feed here. Oh, let's see. Let's try and do this again here. Pretty excited about this and pretty stoked. There we go. There we go. That's what we're looking for right there. And that's this is from the folks over at NASA Spaceflight. No affiliation with NASA, just NSF. They've got some great shots, and we've got various other shots there as far as that goes. We have from Launchpad, we have some different camera angles also. Let's go ahead and check that angle out as far as get our camera set up here, and you can see, and she's they have 18 minutes. We're going to have to see. Let's see. What do they have over here? That's 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes to go on that one. Maybe we have to refresh that. Let's refresh that. That particular camera view. Yeah, we're down to 6 minutes on that one. So we'll go there. And we're refreshing our cameras and our video feeds, I should say. And they're going to attempt to catch the booster when it comes back. And here we have another view, I believe, of there we go. I think that's the same view. Okay, and then we have we also have the folks over at space.com, all coming from you from YouTube. And let's see what they have to say over there.
Just under 5 minutes to go. We are all very excited here. We're going to send it back to you at Starbase for the final minutes of the countdown. Kate and Dan.
All right. Thank you.
Vessel in the range last minute, opportunity to clear it out, but everything currently looking good. Now, once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, a number of events will occur in rapid succession. The ground spin and ignition systems come up to flight pressure. The ship will go to internal power. After that, the quick disconnect or QD arm lockout is removed in preparation for retraction, which will happen shortly after T0. And yeah, once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, we do have the ability we have the ability to recycle the count under certain conditions back to that T-minus 40-second mark and hold there to assess what happened and assess opportunity to proceed again to T0.
Yep, we've used that T-minus 40 hold a couple of times. Boat's usually one of the items, but we aren't tracking anything right now that would cause us to hold there. We can hold there for several minutes. Main thing you're watching at is you kind of set a clocks because your temperatures will change and the fuel in the locks, everything pretty quickly. So you've got a couple of minutes that you can hang out and figure things out. There are items that if we pass them, we're scrubbed for the day. One of the main ones is that flame deflector at the bottom of the launch mount. Water begins flowing for that at the T-minus 10-second mark. If we scrub at any point after that, we'll be done for the day. And then teams will need to refill the deflector as well as all of our prop that we use to load on board the vehicle. It's pretty much just under 11 million pounds of prop sitting on that thing right now. And we can actually recycle in about 24 hours now.
Which is incredible given the sheer volume of propellant that is on board the vehicle there on your screen.
All right. Coming up on the 2-minute mark. Again, a lot of ambitious things on the plate for Starship today.
T-minus 2 minutes.
New ship, new year, a lot of upgrades, doing a lot of ambitious things in space this time. Our first payload deploy, relighting a Raptor engine. We're looking good.
So as we mentioned before, we have an opportunity to hold at T-minus 40 seconds, not tracking any issues at the moment that would be necessary right now. So fingers crossed we can pass through that checkpoint without stopping. But the folks on console are continuing to evaluate the launch commit criteria, making sure that the winds are within limits as well as any other weather restrictions. But man, compared to yesterday, this is a textbook gorgeous day.
Oh yeah, little breezy today, but we got clear blue skies for a launch today. So at this point, all the prop has been loaded on the vehicle. We've closed everything out. We're doing our final thrust vector control, or steering for the engine checkouts. Once we hit the 30-second mark, we'll hear the flight director give the final go for launch. So we're under a minute. As we said, we're not expecting a hold at T-minus 40, but do not be shocked if that happens. It has happened in the past, and we can hang out there for a couple of minutes if we need to.
If memory serves me right,
we hold my breath for 4 seconds.
Pass through prop load gate.
All right, we passed right through that prop load gate.
Hot diggity dog.
All right, so we're going to let our flight director, Ty Huntington, take it away.
Go for launch.
And 20 seconds.
We are about 80 seconds into the 7th flight of Starship. I believe we can say we have 33 healthy Raptor engines as the booster is in flight and all the way on its way through max Q.
So we just passed through max Q. That's the greatest stress the vehicle is going to experience on the way uphill. Reminder that all of our teams down here on the ground are now looking at systems on the tower. They just did a manual check through. That's going to inform that manual flight director's decision. Next moment coming up, though, is going to be hot staging. Don't take your eyes off it. It's one heck of a light show.
What a gorgeous ascent.
6 ship engines getting ready to ignite. That's going to happen while we're still attached.
We can still see the ship's engines from the ground.
Got a little under 30 seconds away from that. We are hearing good call outs on the tower preparedness from the manual checks. Reminder though, we've still got automated checkouts on the booster and the ship itself. As of right now, our manual checks and our manual commanding is looking go for a catch.
Booster engine cut off.
That is incredible news. We just heard the call out for booster
Right,
engine
Nico.
cut off.
Engine startup.
Most engines cut off, down to those
Stage
middle
separation.
3.
Cruise back burn startup.
That's amazing, folks.
All right, hot stage
Raptor, chamber
confirmed.
pressure
We've
is
got a
nominal.
booster
Wow.
hopefully on our way back to us, and a ship now making its ascent burn into space. How's it going in Hawthorne, Jesse?
It's great over here. You can hear the crowd screaming for every milestone. The booster is now making its way back down to Earth. Looks like we have 12 of those 13 engines ignited. We're using the engines that actually gimbal.
We
So
are go for booster return.
an excellent call out there. We are go for booster
Ship
return.
avionics, power and telemetry nominal.
There's a lot of criteria that needed to line up to ensure that we could have a
Cruise
safe
back burn shutdown.
booster catch, and it sounds like we got the go for that. And there you can see on your screen, we had we just jettisoned the hot stage, and there's a great, excellent view there of the hot stage floating away from the super heavy
Outstanding
booster.
camera views. Outstanding camera views here, folks.
Now we've shut down the engines for that boost back burn. That confirms boost back burn is now complete. That was the first of 2 burns required for the vehicle to make its way back down to Earth. And next coming up will be the landing burn. That's going to be 13 of those center engines igniting again. And that will then go down from 13 down to 3 engines just right before we touch down for that booster catch. Now, reminder, our stage 1 objectives are to have a controlled ascent, stage separation, as well as a controlled boost back burn and hot stage as well. So we're looking good for that so far. Some great views there from the ship of Earth. That looks incredible.
Wow.
Now, Starship's ship is still firing its engines right now.
Starship trajectory nominal.
And great call outs. Starship trajectory is nominal. You can follow along the telemetry, the altitude in the bottom left-hand corner for the super heavy booster, as well as the bottom right-hand corner for the ship. And these views are just amazing. Again, the booster is currently making its way back to the tower today. So we're looking forward to a booster catch with the chopsticks. And in the meantime, you can see those grid fins there, helping to control the vehicle and guide it back to its landing site.
Booster FTS is saved.
Now with that, we're gonna hand it back. How's it going over there, Dan and Kate? How are you doing, Kate? Seeing that in person.
Dan had to take that entire segment because I couldn't talk. That was incredible.
There it is.
We can see the booster coming back in now through the plume. At least it looks that way to us. It's incredible that it basically returns. It looks like a speeding just like
Ship
this
vector chamber pressure is
silver
nominal.
flare coming back to the once again, we are standing by for attempting to catch the booster at the tower. This would be the second tower catch.
Booster
Landing burn. Seeing 13 engines.
Booster now hovering as it aligns with the tower for catch.
Booster coming in. Get
Down
ready
to-
for that boom, Kate.
Down to 3 engines.
Booster landing burn shut down.
They caught the booster. They caught the booster. Oh my God. That is phenomenal, folks. Phenomenal.
You heard it here. Vexilla has caught the booster.
Once again, for the second time, a successful catch by the launch tower. This is the same tower, the launch pad, where that booster took off from just 7.5 minutes ago. Great view from the
Bullseye.
chopstick arms, looking at those hypersonic grid fins that steer the booster for that precision landing. It
And I
almost
mean,
looks
you
like it's
can-
flapping its
Yeah,
wings.
you can see just how small that catch fetting is too on something that's just so massive.
That was absolutely insane.
Meanwhile,
We're not done, but
We're
wait,
not
there's
done yet.
more.
all right, and we are tracking.
Now we're standing by for views from the ship, but who can take their eyes off of that incredible sight?
We were expecting ship engine cutoff about 40 seconds ago. We saw some of those engines start to go out prior to that point. And so right now we are just standing by to try and get the latest word on where we are with ships. So stick with us for just a couple of minutes as we wait to hear some updates.
Now, if you just recently joined us, you might want to hit rewind and go back about 9-10 minutes ago to when Starship lifted off from the launch tower that you see there. We had a gorgeous ascent followed by a stage separation where the ship separated from the super heavy booster. The booster performed a flip maneuver and returned back to the Gulf Coast here. There you can see it on your screen. Obviously a successful catch back at the launch tower, which is something that we were all hoping to see and really couldn't ask for a more beautiful background with those blue skies and blue water there. As Dan said, we are standing by for an update on the ship that had ignited its engines and started making its way up to space. So standing by for more info on that. But wow, what an experience to see that take off and for that booster to come back. You can see it there up close on your screen to the place that it launched from. Once again, there were thousands of catch commit criteria, which is basically just all the things that we have to assess and evaluate and basically make sure that they are make sure that everything is clear and acceptable conditions, both on the vehicle side as well as the tower side, in order to enable that catch. So obviously from the last two flights that we have done, where the flight 6 we attempted but had to divert into the ocean, and then on flight 5 we did have the first ever successful catch of the booster. We used the learnings of those two flights to hone in that catch commit criteria, and we saw success today, which is pretty awesome.
And just a quick status check. So we currently do not have comms with the ship. So trying to figure out exactly when that happened and exactly what happened. So obviously the flight controllers right now going through their data, looking to make sure it's not anything instrumentation on the ship, but actually try and get us a status. So again, we're gonna keep listening in on this. We'll give you an update as soon as we have a little bit more. So for now, stage 1 back in the tower, waiting to find out a little bit more about stage 2.
Okay, that's not good news, folks, because if you can look in the lower right-hand corner, that's the engines of the Starship. There's only one engine that's lit up. So unless there was a communications break, they're staying with the booster catch. That was successful. But the question now is, did we have a mishap? Because they're not going to the space, to the Starship. The Starship, usually right after they have the booster, the Godzilla arms catching the booster, they go back to camera telemetry on the Starship 7. And we're not seeing that. Again, you can see the speed stopped at 2,100 and the altitude was 146 kilometers, which is, let me check, 146 kilometers. In miles, let's see, kilometers. That's 90 miles. So that's 90 miles up. We have something going on. Let's go back to see what they might see if we can ascertain any information
right now. But again, stick with us. We'll bring you updates as soon as we hear them. Really exciting. We were able to catch the booster today. Obviously, we want to get the ship all the way over to the Indian Ocean. May not be able to do that at this point, but we'll give you some updates as soon as we hear a little bit more about the ship.
For those that didn't catch earlier, this was a new version of the ship. This was its debut flight. To understand where we stand with the ship, but as Dan mentioned before, teams are trying to make sure that it's not an instrumentation error. We want to find out if it's, did we just lose communication, or did something else happen with the ship? So teams are actively working, trying to figure out what we can find out, and we're continuing to listen in and find out more information to share as we can. But as we said before, and you can see it there on your screen, what a beautiful, beautiful.
Okay, this doesn't look good, folks, compared to, this is the 7th one. And usually if they're trying to gather information, they're assessing, I would say, a possible incident with the Starship itself, with the telemetry on the, they've still got the clock going, but we have no word at all. Let's see if we can go to the folks over at NASA Space Flight and see what they might have to say about it.
The vehicle, some of the communication systems fail and things like that. That sometimes happens as well. And you see things that might actually not be there. So we'll see.
I'll tell you, despite potentially Ship 33's demise, we had a clear view. NASA's cooking up some real good stuff for you guys for the replay.
Yeah, and so it looks like SpaceX has just assumed that the ship has been lost, because they've been trying to regain that communications. It seems like it might not have been that loss of communication. It might have actually been a loss of the ship itself. And so that's one of the things that they are sort of, assuming right now, given the data.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's called rocket science, because sometimes it comes in ways you don't expect. And again, they got every piece of data they could before they lost telemetry with the vehicle.
But during that ascent phase, a couple of the engines dropped out, and then shortly thereafter, we lost communication with the vehicle. So we are assuming that we have lost the ship, but we are standing by to confirm that. And once we can, we will. But this was a new version of the ship, of Starship, and it was intentionally designed and flown in order to basically test the envelope, as we have done with every one of these test flights, the keyword there being test, and really trying to understand the boundaries and the maximums for the ability of this vehicle to fly and understand where those boundaries are. So we always knew that excitement is guaranteed today, success not guaranteed. And so, yeah, we are standing by to see if we can learn more about the status of the ship.
All right, folks. As they're ascertaining on what the status is of ship number 33 of Starship test flight number 7. This is the first one I've seen where they've done this. I've seen all 7, and this isn't looking good as far as a fantastic catch of the booster heavy, but they indicated that this is a newer version of the Starship. As far as that goes, they have. It's just it's sad. I'm surprised. You never know, and that's why they don't man these right out of the gate and stuff like that, because we would have had probably a possible loss of life or whatever. That's why you do these tests, and as far as that goes. So as we're looking at our views from our various streams there, you can see the heavy booster, and with the Starship on top of this, the height of this thing is as big as the Eiffel Tower and as tall as Big Ben, and so it's sort of surprised. Let's see what the folks over at NSF have to say here.
And what detanks it? I mean, how much fuel's left in this?
Probably about 100 tons or so, maybe 150 tons or so remaining, just based on that frost line and everything. But yeah, one of the things that I'm looking forward to as well, because for Flight 6, they said that they had modified a bunch of the tower and booster systems to fasten this sort of post-landing processing. So one of the things that I'm really looking forward to, because obviously on Flight 6, we had that booster offshore divert, and the booster did not land on the chopsticks. But today, as we see there, it's dangling off the chopsticks. So perhaps we're going to see those processes as, they save the booster and put it back on the overland.
Yeah, and there's still an active flight. Go ahead, Adrian.
I'm just looking at a bit of a replays here. At plus 739, the first engine falls out at ship 33, and after that you can see the methane load on the ship rapidly dropping. So I wonder if these events are somehow related and they have some sort of leak that sparks a fire. This is wild speculation mode, but we saw fire. A fire means there's ignition source somewhere, otherwise you don't get a fire. And we see the methane tank dropping faster than the liquid oxygen tank. So That's the first observations here we're getting from watching the feedback.
So, I was going to make a joke. You ever think something in your head and you're like, hey, don't say that.
A joke
Okay,
isn't.
okay, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say something
No,
about all the work
you
they
could
did on the
say-
heat shield.
That is an interesting observation, Adrian, because I'm thinking about other things as well that are new on this vehicle, which are those transfer tubes. Those transfer tubes, when we talk about that, what do they transfer?
Well, methane.
Hey, and what of the
And what just
telemetry
dropped?
things-
Methane, yeah.
Right,
It's but looking more and more, there is a rapid drop in methane. That's the thing. What is apparently happening? There's a rapid drop in methane, and the engines lose. Like they go out one by one. So there might be some issue with either supplying the engines or with the engine itself, or somewhere in that system, and that leads to the tank also losing methane. So
yeah, it's total speculation time here, of course.
Yeah.
Pending any official confirmation from SpaceX. That is one of the things that, sometimes it's just like you see things and it's like, maybe it's this. Of course, we are waiting again for that official confirmation. But it's one of those things that kind of makes you scratch your head and be like, maybe they are related.
From
that's the replay. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is what happened. You can see there one engine goes out on the ship telemetry. You can see there one of the center engines goes out. And then they go there. You can see that flap hinge, that fire there starting up. Then they switch to the booster having been caught. And then you can see more engines going out, both on the same side, I should say. That's also an interesting observation as well, if you can see that. And then the telemetry on the propellant graphic there, the CH4, that methane drops even further. And then we have another engine shutdown as well. So that's a replay of what happened.
And when the engines shut down, is that something the onboard computers are like, oh, this is off nominal, shut it down, or some?
And that's a good catch as far as the telemetry that was on. Okay, we're going to go back to the folks in SpaceX here.
At this point in time, we can confirm that we did lose the ship. However, Starship, the total vehicle, did have an on-time liftoff at 4:37 p.m. Central Time from the launch pad just behind us at Starbase Texas. Gorgeous ascent and successful stage separation. The booster pushed the ship off, the ship disconnected during that stage separation. The booster came back for a successful, the second ever booster catch at the launch tower, which was pretty incredible to see.
Yeah, it was great to see the booster come down, but we are obviously bummed out about ship. It looked like we lost contact with it a little under 8.5 minutes into flight. That's roughly when you start to get to that main engine cutoff. We obviously need to go through all the data. It's going to take some time. In the next hours, days, we're going to figure out exactly what happened, come back, fly the next one, get even farther. Reminder, it's a test. It's a flight test. It's an experimental vehicle. So we'll figure out what ended our day today and make sure it doesn't end our day tomorrow. So as we do that, we're going to continue to provide you updates on our X account on SpaceX.com. So just continue to tune in there. As we learn what happened, we'll be ready to share it.
Exactly. So for now, we are going to wrap up our webcast. We'd like to thank.
Okay, so that's the folks over at SpaceX on space.com. Back over to, let's just listen a little bit to the folks on the NASA spaceflight feed. I don't think they have any association with NASA, but let's go ahead and let's see what they have to say.
There are people reporting seeing debris going down somewhere around the, I think what we see a lot is South Africa. So we are, I think it was South Africa, right? Correct me
It should be way earlier. I believe that's near.
The Turks and Caicos.
Turks and Caicos. Yeah, that's in the Caribbean. Yeah, because the ship, it's essentially. I'm afraid to say this. This is essentially like a flight 2 situation. If you remember, Ship 25 flew on that mission, and it also had speaking of fires, I was going to say it had a fire in the engine section, and then it started shutting down engines and whatnot. And we see a bit of a flare there from the quick disconnect port on the booster, and it stopped, or it's still there.
Bit of a fire there.
Make up your mind, Booster 14. You either flare or you don't.
Did they change the timing on this? Now that we see this the second time.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and let's see, what are we doing here? Let's go ahead and get back here, and we'll go ahead and bring it back here. It looks like the Starship went up on the booster heavy, but the Starship itself, Starship 33, it was a newer model. It ended up losing its engines about 90 miles up, I think, from what the telemetry is telling us. And how you doing, Captain Rehab? Thank you for being here. And so we're not going to go any further with the video here. Normally, these flights, this is Flight 7. I've watched all 6 prior to this. This has never happened before. This is the second catch. That was exciting, catching the booster heavy. That was phenomenal and stuff like that. But then it became apparent. It's like, wait a minute, why aren't they going back to the Starship 33? Because the flight's continuing. It continues over the Atlantic, the southern Atlantic, over the southern part of Africa into the Indian Ocean. And it comes down right over there about, I don't know, about 1,000 miles off the southwest side of Australia in the Indian Ocean there. But that didn't happen. It seems like it lost its engine. So it's more than likely, depending on what they have their telemetry, but the telemetry that was on the video down in the bottom on the lower right, it showed the engines. When the engines are going, they're turned white. It was obvious they had engine shut down, and then all of a sudden there was a communication. But it was a beautiful launch up to that point, to the first 10 minutes. So a little bit of a shocker, and but it's a test. Like they said, it's a test, a very expensive test, but it's a test nonetheless to where they have to test these things before they can put any type of humans on board to make sure that it's reliable, just like they did with the SpaceX Falcon rocket. It had a number of tests before they, a number of flights before they even attempted to, the Dragon spacecraft. That's the capsule that SpaceX makes. That's on top of that rocket now that goes up to the International Space Station. So we did get some initial good views from when 90 miles up, and then that they were focusing in on the return of the Starship Heavy. And so a little disappointed as far as that goes, but it is what it is, I guess, on that aspect. And as far as that goes, so we're just going to go ahead and wrap this up, I think, here, and see when the next one is. Okay, this one was postponed from Monday to today. I have no idea why it was postponed. We still have. Here's some of the telemetry right here. You can see these are the engines on the spacecraft. If we look at that, we watch that. That's right here. These are the engines. They're at an altitude of 160 kilometers. And what were they? So if we watch this, it's still going. The telemetry on this, the left side, that's for the booster heavy. So here it is, 117. We still have full rockets. No problem with the LOX or the methane. And there we have a good picture We're at 122 kilometers. 124. I forget what the and there's a picture of it right there on the big screen here. They must be replaying this. That's not real. I don't know. That does not look normal right there. Is that the hot? Just watching this as far as the telemetry, you have 147 or 137, and then it went dark. Okay. Oh, we got a commercial. We get a commercial on YouTube here. So I have no. It just looks like the engine's dropped. The engine's dropped out, and if it has no engines to fly, then it's just going to come down in the Atlantic Ocean somewhere. Okay, here it is. We still got telemetry. We still have engines going. 139 kilometers. That's 90 miles. So it's right around this part right here. I don't. This flaming out is not really normal, unless that's the booster that's returning, which could be. That could be the booster. You know what? That is the booster. Okay, that came down, no problem. I'm focusing in over here on the engines. These are for this. This is for Starship 33, the 3 triangular engines. And you can see we're still getting. Oh, that's okay. There's a Starship over here. That's 90 miles up. We're watching the engines. And this is basic telemetry right here. These are the engines right here of Starship 33. It's at 144 kilometers. As the booster's coming down, we're focused on that, but I'm just looking at this right now on the replay. And they're showing the booster coming down, which is fantastic. Got my hats off to them and stuff like that. But the Starship, that's what I'm watching. I'm watching these engines right here. Let's see, can you see that? Yeah, they're all, there's the catch, but I'm still watching these engines. 144 kilometers. Speed is still going up, but the altitude is staying at 144. So something's going on right there. There's no telemetry from altitude. Speed is still going up, but no altitude. So there it goes, 145. Okay, it went up, but it's not. So is it flattening out and it's going straight now? The speed is still going, so it's still going, moving forward. This is the Starship, not the booster. This is the actual Starship. And I'm just watching this down here. It's going, the speed is still going. We still have full rocket or full engines. And they might cut this off here. Let's say 146. But see, right here, you can see the locks. This is empty right here. Something happened down here. Oh, that's interesting. Engines just went, okay, they dropped the 2 outer engines. It's at 147. But there's no fuel indicating. The fuel is gone. There's too little. There's locks and then the CH4. And they're all excited about that. But we'll go over here, 149. We have 3 inner engines burning still. They're out now. So are we done with the burn? There was no indication. So 151. The height and the speed, it's slow now. It's very slow. There's the Starship right there. and something's obviously wrong. It's at 154. It's switched around. Why is it switching around? Is it coming back for a landing? You can see it's in space, but the speed, its engines are off, so you're not going to have an increase of speed. And actually, the speed is decreasing. 2647.3, 2647.2, 2647.1. It's decreasing its speed, so it's losing altitude now. So obviously something was wrong on the spaceship. And that's where they just oh, what did I do? Okay. All right. So there we have it. As far as they obviously had some type of engine problem from what that telemetry was saying. So I'm not a rocket scientist, but once they pointed it out, because we're so fixated on the catch, and which is a good catch for the folks there at as far as the condition of what is in. So I guess that's it. We're usually this would last for another hour and 15 minutes or so, but we're going to go ahead and I'm glad I caught that just before leaving here. And but it's been a pleasure. I am a space nut. I enjoy watching these launches. We'll be probably broadcasting when Starship Flight 8 takes off, whenever that is. And we'll be seeing what happens as far as that goes with what comes out of the incident analyzing of the data and all that and stuff like that. So I do want to say thank you for the 27 people on X. Thank you very much. That's fantastic, folks. Thank you very much. That's I really appreciate that. As far as that goes, we got 27 people on X. That's fantastic. Greatly appreciated. And let's see, we have 7 people on Rumble, 1 person on Locals, 2 people on YouTube, 2 people on Twitch, and over on the Facebook. We have nobody on the Facebook, but that's okay. We're still broadcasting on the Facebook. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this broadcast down. And again, I really appreciate your views. I'm very enthused about this, and I just enjoy sharing what my interest is, and space is my interest. So you all have a great one, wherever you may be. Rich Roberts, at Fireman Rich, will be broadcasting tomorrow for the morning coffee at 6 o'clock, thereabouts, if I'm not late. We'll see, and maybe we'll get an update, and we can talk about it some more on the morning coffee broadcast. Thank you, Captain Rehab, for being in the comments there from Twitch. And again, those people over on X, thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. This is Rich Roberts, at Fireman Rich over there on X. That's the mainstay where I stay. X is great, just like Rumble and Rumble Studios. The people on Rumble are fantastic as well. And also those folks on Locals, YouTube, Twitch, and the Facebook. So you all have a great Thursday evening. And with that, this is Rich Roberts wishing you well. Live life. Have fun. Ciao for now. As always, peace. Take care, folks.